All right, Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakakwadash. Yahweh is the true, holy, and powerful name of the Heavenly Father. Bahasham, meaning of the name. Yahweh Shai is the true, holy, and powerful name of His only begotten Son, who is the Savior of the nation of Israel, starting off with the elect within the nation of Israel. Israel consists of you so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans, as well as your Israelite foreigners scattered abroad that may look like the nations where you've been scattered to, but are Israelites. And I also want to give double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect, pushing out this word in all sincerity and the truth. All right, this is the brother you call from the GMS branch out of Des Moines. I welcome back at you with another lesson inspired by the Holy Spirit. Harakak Wadash. And this lesson is going to be going into the looming famine, all right, that approaches, and the inflation, all right, that's going to really hit this place, all right, according to biblical prophecy. And as you see on the screen here, this is an article from independent.co.uk entitled Baby Formula Shortages Forces Parents to Pay $120 for Single Can as Target, CVS, and Walgreens limit sales. All right. And this is actually a big issue even here in Iowa. All right. As we're going to actually read in the article. But even my rib had told me about even a couple of weeks ago how people had been posting on Facebook, asking people for breast milk for sale and everything like that because there's a shortage in baby formula. All right, and that's not going to be the only thing that there's going to be a shortage in. It's going to be in all these different for all these different foods, man. All right, but it says CVS and Walgreens are limiting customers to 3 toddler and infant formulas per purchase as the shortage worsens across the U.S. It says an escalating baby formula shortage has forced desperate parents to pay up to $120 for a single can, while top retailers Target, CVS, and Walgreens have limited sales and efforts to share out supply. Families across the U.S. are scrambling to find formula to feed their babies as the shortages reaches crisis levels, fueled by both supply chain issues and widespread product recall of one of the nation's top manufacturers. All right, so even this happening, all right, whether it's being orchestrated purposely by Esau, Edom, or whatever the case may be, ultimately leads to the judgment of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua that's being brought down upon this place, as we're going to read in the book of 2nd Ezra, the 16th chapter. All right, but I want to read through more of this article, and then we're going to hit all these precepts, Lord's will. It says families across the U.S. are scrambling to find formula to feed their babies as the shortage reaches crisis levels, fueled by both supply chain issues and widespread product recall of one of the nation's top manufacturers. A staggering 40% of top-selling baby formula were out of stock across U.S. retailers in the week ending 24th of April, according to analysis from Data Assembly. In 6 states, Iowa, South Dakota, North Dakota, Missouri, Texas, and Tennessee, more than half of all baby formula products are completely sold out. All right, and you have a majority of the women, all right, a lot of women, all right, they don't breastfeed, all right, and they depend on baby formula to feed their children. Okay, so this is a major issue, and as we even mentioned on the line this past weekend, all right, pretty much we're reaching a point where all these people are going to have to face these prophecies, man. All right, whether they've been scoffing and don't believe in what we're saying or whatever the case may be, at the end of the day, all right, the scripture says how the word of the Lord will not return unto him void, but it shall accomplish in that which he pleases. So all these things that the Lord has forewarned us of, all right, that we've been prophesying about, the famine and so on and so forth, all right, there is going to be unavoidable, all right, and it's going to get to a point to where you won't be able to, all right, you won't be able to escape, okay, the reality of the destruction that's all around you, all right, the calamities that the Lord is bringing all around you, all right, you won't be able to go to your clubs and party and BS or whatever the case it may be to kind of take your mind off of reality, all right, no, the Lord is going to have these people face his judgment, all right, and one of the major things that the Lord is going to be doing is allowing a lot of people to die in this famine, all right, as a judgment from Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. It says the dire situation marks a dramatic surge in out of stock levels since the start of the month, when almost a third, 31% of produced products were out of stock, and almost 4 times the level of shortage, 11% back in November. Now we're going to read a little bit more. It says this time last year, the data assembly found that out of stock levels fluctuated between around 2 and 8%. Major retailers are responding by limiting the number of products that customers can buy in an effort to try to ensure that there is enough to go around. So what is that? That's food rationing, man. All right. Rationing it to where you can only buy a certain amount or receive a certain amount, okay, of this baby formula. And we saw even instances of that at the beginning of the pandemic. You had rations on water, how many cases of water that you could buy, or how many rolls of toilet paper that you could buy, and so on and so forth. It says both CVS and Walgreens announced that they are limiting customers to 3 toddler and infant formulas per purchase across all U.S. stores. Walgreens Boots Alliance spokesman Steve Cohen said in a statement that the move was necessary. Due to increased demand and various supplier challenge, infant and toddler formulas are seeing constraint across the country, he said. Target has also limited purchases to up to 4 items at a time on its online store. While panicked parents clamor to find enough to feed their infants and store shelves are increasingly bare, many are also coming up against huge price hikes. All right, so as you've been seeing, okay, well, as they're going to explain, since there's a low supply, all right, that increases the demand, okay, for the product, which also increases the price of the product because there's not a lot of it circulating, man. All right. So therefore, the prices of these things are skyrocketing, man. Okay, and we're going to read even an example or that being spoken about in the book of Revelation, the 6th chapter. But let's keep reading here. It says one Texan mother, Ashley Hernandez, told the New York Times that she turned online and found a single can of the baby formula her 2 daughters have on eBay for $120. In the end, she found a seller offering 10 cans for $40 each, and despite the high price, quickly bought it. All right, so she spent $400, okay, for 10 cans of baby formula, man. It says, however, she said that the supply will only last them around 5 or 6 weeks, and then she will be back to square one. All right, so even that, the amount of baby formula cans that she got, it's not even going to last her much long, man, or last her too long. All right, it said what, 4 to 6 weeks? That's about a month to a month and a half, man. All right. It says, however, she said the supply will only last them around 5 or 6 weeks, excuse me, and then she will be back to square one. All right, the shortage has been driven in part by the recent recall of Abbott Nutrition's popular powder baby formula products back in February. All right, but that's all we're gonna grab on that. You can read more of this article. All right, but it's showing you what's going on according to prophecy, man. All right, famine, inflation, and food rationing, man. All right, this is the book of Revelation, the 6th chapter, and we're gonna start at verse 5. It says, and when he had opened the 3rd seal, I heard the 3rd beast say, come and see, and behold, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hands. Now, when you go into that word balances, all right, it mentions a yoke, okay, which is symbolic for what? Servitude, captivity, all right. And just applying it in the spirit into what we're seeing on the rise is these draconian measures, man. Okay. All right, Esau's putting a tighter yoke upon the people through these restrictions. All right, through these laws that he's instituting, man. Okay, pretty much putting the people back into full slavery, and that's ultimately what that MOTB is, man. It's a badge of servitude, man. All right, that you're a slave to the elite. So it's starting off with these draconian measures, but it's going to end ultimately with the ultimate badge of servitude. All right, that ultimate yoke being that MOTB inserted into you, man. That digital all, the charagma. All right, that Revelation 13 and 16 on down. But it says, Verse 6, and this is the main point. It says, and I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. See thou hurt not the oil and the wine. Now, the oil and the wine, all right, is an allegory or symbolic for this truth. All right, but going back into the a measure of wheat for a penny, we're going to go into these words. Now, looking up a measure first here, it says a konix, a dry measure containing 4 kodile or 2 satari, less than our quart, 1 liter. Now, this is the main point that we're going to harp on. It says, or as much as would support a man of moderate appetite for a day. All right. So this measure of wheat, okay, a measure would be able to support a man of moderate appetite for a day. But keep that in mind, 1 man. All right. Now let's go back. Now let's look up this penny. The apostles went into this on the line, I believe, last week. But it says denarius containing 10, a Roman silver coin in New Testament time. It took its name from it being equal to 10 asses, a number after 217 BC, increased to 16. It says it was the principal silver coin of the Roman Empire. From the parable of the laborers in the vineyard, it would seem that a denarius was then the ordinary pay for a day's wages. All right. So a day's wages, all right, would only allow somebody to receive enough food to sustain 1 man. All right. Going into that measure of wheat, according to that definition that we just read in the blue letter, man. Now imagine that this man, okay, who's busting his ass at work, all right, his whole day's wages is only enough to feed himself, but he's got a wife at home and children and so on and so forth. They're going to have to ration out that food, man. Okay. Whatever they can get, all right, for that day, that's only enough to sustain 1 man. They're going to have to ration out that food. Okay. And these are the times that we're entering into with these, with the inflation, all right, with the scarcity of food. This is all according to biblical prophecy, man. All right, this is the book of Leviticus, and even going back to the title of the article, baby formula shortages forces parents to pay $120 for a single can as Target, CVS, and Walgreens limit sales. All right, for a lot of people, $120, all right, could be a day's wage, or even more, or even less, depending on what that particular person does and the area that he may be in, the state, and this and that and the third. All right. But that could be considered a day's wages, man, for a single can of baby formula. All right. Let's say you got multiple children. All right. That's not even enough unless you're going to eat the baby formula. All right. But that might not even be enough to sustain, okay, multiple children. All right. But these are the times that we're entering into, man. The Lord is ultimately, all right, bringing in this famine, all right, this inflation and so on and so forth, to bring in this judgment upon the people for their wickedness. All right, but going into this in the book of Leviticus 26 and 26, it says, and when I have broken the staff of your bread, 10 women shall bake your bread in 1 oven, and they shall deliver you your bread again by weight, and ye shall eat and not be satisfied. All right, now let's read this in the CSB. It says, when I cut off your supply of bread, 10 women will bake your bread in a single oven and ration out your bread by weight, so that you will eat but not be satisfied. Okay? So imagine that. All right? 10 women, okay, baking bread in a single oven. Now that 10 women, all right, you that could be 10 families. You got a woman for each family, all right, and all 10 of them, all right, is using 1 oven to cook a loaf of bread or 2 loaves of bread, all right, and then they gotta all break that up, divide that between 10 families, all right, and then ration that out to their families, man. Okay, so that's why I said what, so that you will eat but not be satisfied, man. So these are the hard times that are coming, man. It's not going to stop, or it's not going to get better, okay, from a carnal standpoint. It's only going to get worse, All right, for the wicked of our people, man. And Lord's will we continue to do which is well pleasing in our sight, and be found to be servants of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, so that ourselves and our households will be provided for. As it is written in the book of Isaiah, the 33rd chapter, says that our bread and our water shall be sure. Okay? Because this is not a judgment for the righteous, but this is a judgment for the wicked. All right, let me grab this real quick. In the book of Psalms. All right, this is Psalms 37 and 25. It says, I've been young and now am old, yet have I not seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. So as I had mentioned, all right, this is not for the righteous, okay? See, these things are being sent for the wicked, for a punishment for the wicked, all right? As it says here in the book of Sirach, the 40th chapter, all right? Sirach chapter 40 in verse and 9, it says, death and bloodshed, strife and sword, calamities, famine, which is what we're harping on, tribulation and the scourge. These things are created for the wicked, and for their sakes came the flood. So once again, this famine that the Lord is orchestrating through the Spirit is a judgment for the wicked. All right. And it's a gruesome judgment, man, because that's a horrible way to die. All right. The scriptures even talk about in the book of Jeremiah. Let's just go ahead and hit it. All right. Since we on this topic. All right. So these harsh measures and harsh times are going to lead, all right, to a lot of people doing some very sick things, man, that the scriptures speak on. This is Jeremiah chapter 19 and verse 9. It says, and I will cause them to eat the flesh of their sons and the flesh of their daughters, and they shall eat every one the flesh of his friend, and the siege and straightness were with their enemies, and they that seek their lives shall straighten them. So this is how bad it's going to get. Okay, this is how bad this famine is going to get, man, to where people are going to be eating their children. All right, eating their friends, literally. All right, that's how bad it's going to get out here, man. Okay. But going back to this in the book of that's it in the book of Psalms. All right, let's go ahead and jump to this in the book of Ezekiel. Another scripture mentioning what a food rationing that's going to be taking place. You're going to have the government that comes in and they're going to seize control over the resources. All right, and then they're going to put their requirements for you to get access to those particular resources. All right, they're going to make requirements to get that, man. And what's going to be one of those main requirements? Ultimately, all right, to get access to society will be that MOTB. All right, that digital all, man. That's why it says that he calls with all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive that charagma in his right hand or in his forehead, and that no man might buy or sell. Now, when you look up that word buy in the Greek, it's the Greek word agora, agora. All right, or the root of that word is agora, which means a marketplace. So you won't be able to have access to the marketplace or access to these particular resources unless you have that charagma. So that's what they're bringing in. They're bringing in order out of chaos. So they're bringing in chaos. All right, orchestrating a famine, right? Orchestrating a famine in these dire measures to where people will be begging to get that digital awe, just to be able to have a sense of relief. All right, a false sense of relief and security in the times that we're entering into, man. All right, but as it is written in the book of Isaiah, the 10th chapter, all right, that the remnant shall no longer stay upon him that smote them, but the remnant shall stay upon the Holy One of Israel in truth. All right, so the Lord's elect, his servants, his remnant, they're going to trust in the Lord to provide, all right, for them and their households, man. All right, to where they won't submit to getting of these different particular things from Esau, Edom, man. All right, speaking of the MOTB, or whether it's the juice. All right, these different injections, man. All right, but Ezekiel 4:16 it says, moreover, he said unto me, son of man, behold, I will break the staff of bread in Jerusalem, and they shall eat bread by weight and with care, and they shall drink water by measure and with astonishment, that they may want bread and water and be astonished one with another and consume away for their iniquity. So that's it. All right. So this is all going into what? The food rationing. Right. Now let's go ahead and read this in another translation. We'll check this out in the NIV. It says, he then said to me, son of man, I am about to cut off the food supply in Jerusalem. The people will eat ration food in anxiety and drink ration water in despair. All right, let's read that next verse. It says, back in the NIV, it says, for food and water will be scarce. They will be appalled at the sight of each other and will waste away because of their sin. All right. So this is once again a judgment coming from Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, man. All right. Now let's grab an example of a famine happening in the scriptures to let you know how bad it can get, man. All right. Well, how bad it can, how bad it will get, and worse, pursuing to Daniel's 12th chapter. All right. Let's hit that real quick. Daniel chapter 12 and verse 1. Daniel 12 and 1. It says, and at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. Right. So the things that we can read about in history. All right. Even when you read in 70 AD, when you read in 70 AD, you can read about the cannibalism that was going down. There's an account of Mary of Bethsaida. All right. A woman where you had men that was pillaging her house multiple times a day. All right. Weeks on end. All right. And she had a child that she ended up boiling her child, man. All right, cooking her child. All right, and then when the men came, smelled something cooking. All right, she pretty much was like, "Here you go. You want a piece? Well, you can have a piece of this." All right, that's how bad it got. Okay, what you have to consider the mental state that a person has to be in to where they have to where they would eat their children. All right, how bad are the circumstances for somebody to do that? But once again, this is all judgment from Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. It says, it is better to die of the sword than to die of the famine, man. All right, because these pine away for lack of the fruits of the field. Roughly paraphrasing, man. So it's better to be put to death rather than dying of a famine. All right, because even you might have a particular individual. All right, they might have cut up their children. All right, looking at that as mercy. Here it is like we spoke about on the line. You might have a child crying, multiple children crying because they hungry. You can't feed them. All right. That person's going to look at it as being a mercy kill of just taking that child out. All right. But then turn around and think, well, why would I waste this meat? All right. There's nothing to eat. Might as well eat it. All right. That's how bad it's going to be. And you can read about accounts of that happening in 70 AD. But as we just read in this Daniel 12th chapter, this is going to be a time like no other. So what we're about to read in 2 Kings, all right, that's going to be nothing compared to the times that we're entering into, man. Finishing out the verse, it says, and at that time thy people shall be delivered, everyone that shall be found written in the book, and that's the elect, all right, whom the Lord is going to deliver out of these troubles, okay? It says, he shall deliver thee in 6 troubles, yea, in 7 shall no evil touch thee. All right, so in the midst of this famine and these different things going down, all right, the Lord's servants, okay, are going to be provided for. Okay, but this is the book of Second Kings, chapter 6 and verse 24. All right, and as you see in the subheading here, it says a siege of Samaria, cannibalism. All right, because that's going to be on the rise, man, in these times. All right, it says and it came to pass after this that 2 Kings 6 and 24, and it came to pass after this that Ben-Hadad, king of Syria, gathered all his hosts and went up and besieged Samaria. And there was a great famine in Samaria, and behold, they besieged it until an ass's head was sold for 80 pieces of silver, and the fourth part of a cab of dove's dung for 5 pieces of silver. All right, so you have people that was scraping up dove's dung shit, all right, scraping it up, collecting it, and then selling it for 5 pieces of silver, man. All right. That's how bad it was, man. You even could read about different accounts of the inflation, even recently down in Venezuela, man. You had people that were breaking into the zoos just to eat the animals, man. All types of madness was going down. But once again, this is going to be greater than all of that. Are these times that we're entering into? It says, verse 26, and as the king of Israel was passing by upon the wall, there cried a woman unto him, saying, help my lord, O king. And he said, if the Lord do not help thee, when shall I help thee? Out of the barn floor or out of the wine press? And that's what people are going to have to realize, man. All right. That the only help that you'll be able to receive in these times is help from Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah. And the only way that the Lord is going to come in and help, all right, a particular individual, man. Speaking of our people, as if you're found pleasing the Lord. All right, if you've been doing what's pleasing in His sight. But majority of our people are going to be straight up rejected and left in these plagues, man. All right, without help. Okay, just to back that up, let me grab these two precepts that came to mind. 6 and 2nd Ezra 15. Salaki, I just want to pull them up so I do not forget them. All right, now this is the book of Hosea, chapter 4 and verse 6. It says, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee. Right, so because our people didn't take heed during this grace period, all right, when the doors of repentance were open, all right, now when their calamity comes upon them and they're crying out unto the Lord is going to reject them. It says that thou shalt be no priest to me. Seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy power, I will also forget thy children. So the Lord is going to allow a lot of children to die in the famine, be put to death. All right. A lot of things, a lot of gruesome things to go down. But once again, this is the wrath of the Lord, and nobody perish being innocent. So all the works of the Lord are exceeding good. Okay, so these judgments, no matter how gruesome or how severe it is a just punishment, man. All right, it says, I will also forget thy children. Okay, now going into this in the book of 2nd Ezra, showing you that the Lord is going to lead these people in these plagues, all right, and not help them, man. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 15 and verse I'm going to start at 24. Woe to them that sin and keep not my commandments, saith the Lord. I will not spare them. Go your way, ye children, from the power, defile not my sanctuary. For the Lord knoweth all them that sin against him, and therefore delivereth he them unto death and destruction. So the Lord has a mindset to deliver, all right, the masses of these people into death and destruction, into these strange calamities, into the famine, all right, to pine away. For now are the plagues come upon the whole earth, and ye shall remain in them. For the Most High shall not deliver you because you have sinned against him. Right. So the Lord is going to allow people to remain in these plagues. Like it says in 2nd Ezra, the 9th chapter. All right. It talks about how the Lord will have them to dwell in torments. Okay. How the Lord has given these people benefits, given our people benefits, but they have not known him. The same must know it after death by pain. But the point being is that they're going to dwell in torments. Okay. Calamity after calamity after calamity coming upon them, man. All right. It says, for now the plagues come upon the whole earth, and ye shall remain in them, for the Most High shall not deliver you because ye have sinned against him. All right, that's right. And we don't want to be a part of that, man. All right. In the midst of these plagues and calamities, and no matter how much you're crying out unto the Lord, he won't be there to deliver you or give you any divine intervention on your behalf because you didn't take him seriously, man. This is Jeremiah 11. Jeremiah 11 and 11, it says, therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, I will bring an evil upon them, which they shall not be able to escape. Speaking to our people, all right, because they will not be able to escape these plagues that are coming. All right, the Lord is delivering them unto death and destruction. All right, lest they repent, okay, before it's too late. Pursuant to that Isaiah the 55th chapter, seek ye the Lord while he may be found, and call upon him while he is near. Also quoting that 2nd Ezra the 9th chapter again, man. Talks about the place of repentance being open unto them. All right, that ain't gonna be forever, man. It says, behold, I will bring evil upon them, which they shall not be able to escape, and though they shall cry unto me, I will not hearken unto them. All right, so that's the importance of us hearkening unto Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai right now before it's too late. Because there's going to come a time where our people are going to be crying out unto the Lord. All right. And he's going to laugh at their calamities, man. Mock when their fear comes, pursuant to Proverbs, the first chapter. All right. No matter how much they're crying in the midst of this famine. Okay. So going to this in 2 Kings chapter 6 and verse 27 again. And he said, if the Lord do not help thee, when shall I help thee? Out of the barn floor or out of the winepress? And the king said unto her, what aileth thee? And she answered, this woman said unto me, give thy son, that we may eat him today, and we will eat my son tomorrow. So we boiled my son and did eat him. And I said unto her on the next day, give thy son that we may eat him. And she hath hid her son. Right. So this is just one scenario that's being spoken about in the midst of a famine. You can only imagine the different scenarios that were that was going down in the midst of that famine, man. This is only one that's being spoken about. Even when you read in Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, where it prophesies the calamities that came upon our people in 70 AD. All right. It talks about the man, all right, eating the children, the woman eating their children, okay, and not even sharing with the other children. It goes into that in Deuteronomy. As a matter of fact, we can hit it. Why not? All right. Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse let's see, 50. Let's start at verse 52. It says, and he shall besiege thee in all thy gates until thy high and fenced walls come down, wherein thou trustest throughout all thy land, and he shall besiege thee in all thy gates throughout all thy land, which the Lord Yahweh thy power hath given thee. And that's what happened in 70 AD. Yahweh Shai talked about it. Okay. He had mentioned how when you see Jerusalem compassed about with armies, flee to the mountains, man. That was during 70 AD. That's what Yahweh Shai was prophesying about. But this is going into back in Deuteronomy. All right. This is being prophesied about way back then. Okay. And what was going down during that siege, man. Okay, them Romans coming in. It says, and thou shalt eat the fruit of thine own body, the flesh of thy sons and of thy daughters, which the Lord Yahweh thy power hath given thee in the siege and in the straitness wherewith thine enemies shall distress thee. So, Salaki, verse 54, so that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eyes shall be evil toward his brother. So, right, so when this famine comes in, all right, the love of many is really going to be waxing cold, man. It says that friends shall fight against one another as enemies, man. Okay. Lord's will, I remember to grab it. But even talks about that in Second Ezra, how jumping down, well, I'll just hit it right now. Second Ezra chapter 15 and verse let's see. As a matter of fact, it's the 16th chapter. All right, Second Ezra chapter 16 and verse. Just bear with me. Select to come upon all. Okay, now I'm tripping. Maybe I just overlooked it in 15. All right, just bear with me. Yep, Second Ezra chapter 15 and verse 18. It says, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. All right, so this lack of bread that's coming, that we see here already, that's only going to intensify. All right, it's going to cause a lot of people to bug out, to be plain, man. All right. How long until, all right, might have a household of 5 individuals, man. All right. How long until somebody folds, man? Until they still trying to steal food or somebody else's portion. Okay. Or whatever the case may be, until his eye is evil and he's like, man, forget that. I need to get it on my own. All right. How long, man? Okay. But this fire, this affliction, All right. It's going to cause these people to tweet, to bug out. It says, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. So, Lord, your neighbor next door, okay, when he ain't got no food, but you got some food, and his family's starving, all right, and you right next door, hey, he's gonna make it happen, man. This is the mentality that these people's gonna come into, man. All right. Right now, everything's sweet and cool and everything like that, but that's not gonna be for long, man. Watch when this famine hits. All right. It says, and that's it on that. So let's go back. Let's go back to this in the book of Second Kings. No, that was it in Second Kings. Because I probably read that. All right. Oh, back in Deuteronomy. All right. So back in Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 53 again. And thou shalt eat the fruit of thine own body, the flesh of thy sons and of thy daughters, which the Lord Yahweh thy power hath given thee, in the siege and in the straitness wherewith thine enemies shall distress thee, so that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eyes shall be evil toward his brother, and toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave. It says, so that he will not give to any of them of the flesh of his children whom he shall eat, because he had nothing left him in the siege and in the straitness wherewith thine enemies shall distress thee in all thy gates. Now let's go ahead and read this in another translation real quick. All right. Let's see. This is the NLT. He will refuse to share with them the flesh he is devouring, the flesh of one of his own children. So let's say he's got 4 children. All right. And he takes one and kills him. All right. But instead of even sharing that meat, one of his children that he just killed, he's gonna be so bugged out, he's gonna keep it for himself just because he's that hungry, man. It says he will refuse to share with them the flesh he is devouring, the flesh of one of his own children, because he has nothing else to eat during the siege and terrible distress that your enemy will inflict on all your towns. All right, he's gonna be sitting there eating that food in front of his other children's face, man. Okay, because he's that hungry, man. All right, or like in the previous verse, all right, he might just leave him. Man, fuck that. I can't provide for all these little niggas, man. I'm trying to eat my damn self, man. I gotta share this food. Here it is. I go out and fight to go get this food, and I gotta go share with these little niggas, man. If I just leave, I can provide for myself anyways. I can go eat on my own, man, and eat more. All right. These are the different thoughts that's gonna probably go through these different individuals' heads, man. Okay. It says Deuteronomy 28 and 56, it says, the tender and delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for her delicateness and tenderness, her eye shall be evil toward her husband, toward the husband of her bosom, and toward her son, and toward her daughter, and toward her young one that cometh out from between her feet, and toward her children, which she shall bear. For she shall eat them for want of all things secretly in the siege and straitness wherewith thine enemy shall distress thee in thy gates. All right. So you might have a case where a man, he went to go grab some food. All right. He thinking he going to come back home to his children. All right. And then next thing you know, one of his children is gone. All right. And she done already ate. Okay. Already ate him with the rest of her other children. He come back and ask him where's his daughter at? Where's his son at? All right. And she go lie. Somebody came and kidnapped him and this and that and the third. I'm sorry, baby. I couldn't do anything and this and that and the third. But in reality, they went and ate him, man. Okay. And these are the type of things that was going down during 70 AD, man. So what do you think is going to happen in this time period? This shows you that the Lord is not playing at all, man. This famine is going to be grievous, man. Very grievous. All right. So let's end it off with this, man. In the book of Isaiah chapter 8. Oh, nope, I'm sorry. Second Ezra chapter I got 2 more Salaki. Second Ezra chapter 15 and verse 14, it says, "Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the courses of their actions shall stand in their power." Salakia, is this what I want? Okay, yeah, now we already read that. Okay, my bad. I meant to go to 2nd Ezra 16. All right, bear with me, man. It's late. All right, I ain't been to sleep yet. It's 5:41. All right, but this is 2nd Ezra chapter 16 and verse 17. Woe is me, who would deliver me in those days? The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death. And that's what we're entering into, man. The beginning of famine and great death, man. To where these people will feel it. All right. The beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, famine and plague and tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment, right? So the Lord has sent forth these different judgments as a correction, okay? It says, but for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. So what is the Lord going to do? He's going to intensify the judgment, okay? Until Yahushua, all right, returns, man. All right, nuclear fires is raining down upon this place, and Yahushua coming with the host of heaven and the chariots, man. All right, bringing in great destruction as well. It says, but for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth that they shall think themselves to be in good case, and even then shall evils grow upon the earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. For many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. But it says, for many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine. A lot of people are going to die because of the famine, which lets you know that the Lord is very pissed off, because that is one of the most grievous ways a person can die. Pursuant to that Lamentations that I quoted, Lamentation, I believe it's the 4th chapter. And 9, it says, Lamentation 4 and 9, they that be slain with the sword are better than they that be slain with hunger. For these pine away stricken through for want of the fruits of the field. The hands of the pitiful woman have sodden their own children, right? Cooked their own children. They were their meat in the destruction of the daughter of my people. So this is the mental estate that a person can go into because of the famine. All right. This is how bad, man, it's going to get out here. All right. And this is why we have to be walking in the fear of the Lord, knowing what's to come. All right. As it says in the book of Sirach, man, before thou prayest, prepare thyself and think upon the wrath to come, where the Lord shall turn away his face. So we should be considering this great wrath that's coming and doing what we can to be found acceptable in the eyes of the Lord, pleasing unto him, so that we can escape these things, man. All right, so let's end it off with this in the book of Isaiah, the 8th chapter, Isaiah 8 and 21. It says, and they shall pass through it, heartily bestead and hungry. And it shall come to pass that when they shall be hungry, they shall fret themselves and curse their king and their power and look upward. All right, and I'm going to read verse 22 as well. And then reading in another translation, it says, and they shall look unto the earth and behold trouble and darkness, dimness of anguish, and they shall be driven to darkness. Right, now let's read that previous verse in the NLT just to get some clarity. Yep, it says they will go from one place to another, weary and hungry. And because they are hungry, they will rage and curse their king and their God. They will look up to heaven. All right. So imagine that, man. People just wandering, scavenging for food. All right. Wandering from one place to another, weak. Okay. Damn near walking around like a zombie because they have no energy. All right. But they need food, man. Okay. Pissed off, mad at the Lord, mad at the government. Okay. Because of the estate that they're in, man. All right. But really, the only person they should be mad at speaking to our people as themselves, man. All right. For not taking heed unto these words. All right. But jumping down, man. All right. But jumping down to the next verse, Isaiah 8 and 22. We'll read this in the NLT as well, just to get a little bit more clarity. It says, and down at the earth, but wherever they look, there will be trouble and anguish and dark despair. They will be thrown out into darkness. NIV, then they will look toward the earth and see only distress and darkness and fearful gloom, and they will be thrust into utter darkness. Right. So these people are going to have no hope. All right. When they start really experiencing these things, man, they're going to know that the Lord isn't with them, man. They're going to know that they've been rejected of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, man. All right. And in that time, man, hey, nothing that can be done, man, but bear that wrath. All right. That's the importance of us, once again, man, seeking the Lord right now, man. All right. But that was it, man. You know, that was all inspired once again through coming across this article. Once it says baby formula shortages forces parents to pay 120 for single can as Target, CVS, and Walgreens limit sales, man. All right. So that's the inflation. That's letting you know that's gonna be food rationing, man. All right. And then that famine is here. All right. But having that being said, I'm going to end it right there. Lord's what I was edifying. I'm going to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect. Pushing out this word in all sincerity and truth. With that, I'm going to say shalom.